Good day. Thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Welcome to your news in detail. Without further ado, let's get to the news. If Guyana is to succeed with its imminent local content policy and legislation, then it is paramount that it gets the definition of a local company right. This point was recently iterated by President of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Timothy Tucker. Tucker was keen to note that the definition of paramount, as it will ultimately determine the extent of the socio-economic progression Guyanese would be able to achieve in its oil sector. At the same time, Tucker said efforts to achieve high degrees of local content should not be interpreted to mean that there must be a blockade or a dome placed over Guyana and the opportunities to flow from its oil wealth. If it is found that Guyanese do not have the capacity or require technical skill or a particular service that is needed, the GCC president said companies can then seek to tap overseas resources or expertise. In so doing, however, Tucker alleged that the need for joint venture partnership to ensure the transfer of knowledge and technology.
The Guyana government is currently pursuing some hundreds of millions of dollars in electricity projects, but the power generated will not be reaching almost half of the country's population. This since electricity generated from the proposed initiatives would only be supplied to the Demerara-Berbice interconnected system at the Sophia substation. As such, the entire Essequibo County, including its inhabited islands and communities such as Linden, Kokwani, Mabaruma, and scores of other hinterland communities, would not benefit since the proposed increased generation capacity would not be connected to any of the isolated grids. Based on plans being actively pursued by the administration, it will install additional generation capacity in the coming years incrementally in order to triple the national demand. National demand forecast to double in 5 years.
And moving on. A 19-year-old man was assaulted by a group of approximately 11 men for about 4 hours and was also sodomized in a mining pit by his boss. The teen, whose name is not being disclosed due to the nature of the crime, related that 3 of his attackers were workers of his boss and the others were miners from the area. According to the teen, he was at the Mbaimadai gold mine to gain experience in the gold industry when a piece of equipment with gold in it went missing. When his boss confronted him about the matter, the teen said he had no involvement and knew nothing about it. This was when the beating took place. The men were armed with cutlasses, hammers, and wood. The 3 employees of the teen's boss who were involved in the attack have since been arrested.
2 foreign pilots who were arrested after they landed at the Madia airstrip were yesterday remanded for 2 charges. 32-year-old David Kaieteur Villa of Colombia and 48-year-old Gustavo Adolfo Riascos Gomez of Venezuela were charged with unauthorized entry and illegal possession of 2 grams of cannabis and were remanded until November 16th. On the day they landed, they told authorities that they came from Venezuela and got lost looking for gold.
And now let's tell you, 2 young men were yesterday remanded for the brutal murder of Dr. Colin Roach at his Duke Street, Kingston, Georgetown office on Tuesday, November 3rd. The defendants, 19-year-old Hilton Oliver Jr. Franklin and a close friend of the doctor and his accomplice, 18-year-old Leonard Byers, were not required to plead to the indictable charge and will remain behind bars until their next court appearance on November 30th. Franklin reportedly told investigators that he killed Roach by latching him to his head with a metal object. According to him, Roach became intoxicated and made advances towards him, forcing him to defend himself. His accomplice, Bias, however, confessed that it was a planned robbery intended to raise money so that Franklin could buy a car.
An inferno that erupted inside the E-Tech Park in Point Elias yesterday evening after a chemical factory went up in flames in the natural gas industrial zone in neighborhood Trinidad and Tobago underscores the risks faced by Guyana in the future in utilizing such flammable fuels and the dangers of a fire in a petrochemical-dominated industrial zone such as the proposed Wales Industrial Development Zone. The Point Elisa's industrial estate comprises 103 companies involved in the production of petrochemicals akin to the proposed development in Guyana at Wales to be powered and supplied using natural gas to be had from the Stabroek Block. Guyana's industrial zone, according to the administration plans, envisions ventures similar to TNT, such as the production of urea fertilizer and other associated products.
And now let's tell you, a local supplier has attempted to pass off some 100 tons of bogus water treatment chemicals to GWI, and the utility company is now at its wit's end with regards to the treatment of potable water at treatment plants for distribution by the utility company. GWI earlier this year advertised for the delivery and supply of some 100 tons of manganese dioxide. When the chemical was provided to GWI, tests ordered by that entity revealed that the product contained only between 4 and 6% of the required chemical for water treatment. According to the specifications required by GWI, the chemical was supposed to have at least 61% content of the required primary chemical ingredient, manganese oxide. According to information, tests conducted by Canadian labs found that the chemical did not contain any manganese dioxide and was in fact bogus.
The 16-year-old boy, Brian Anthony of Anna Katrina, West Coast Demerara, who heroically ran to his father's defense on Diwali night following a chopping incident, is still in a critical condition at the West Demerara Regional Hospital, while his aggressors have been placed on $700,000 bail each. This is according to the lad's father, 47-year-old Michael Anthony of Anna Katrina, West Coast Demerara. Anthony recalled that on Diwali night, around 21 hours, a group of people were lighting firecrackers and causing distress in the area when he decided to intervene. Following an exchange of words, including threats to Anthony's family, Anthony was badly beaten by the men. His youngest of 3 sons, 16-year-old Brian Anthony, ran to his defense, and he too was beaten.
And moving on, the Guyana Competition and Consumers Affairs Commission said it has received a number of complaints in relation to faulty construction works, with losses totaling close to $50 million. This is according to Public Relations Officer of the Commissions, Ms. Alison Parker. According to Parker, some 38 complaints have been received by the Commission from January to October of this year as a result of defective works by construction workers. While 27 of the complaints were resolved, a total of 11 are still being looked at. The Commission reminded that the Consumer Affairs Act caters for issues with durable products and services.
And now for your COVID-19 update. The Ministry of Health yesterday reported that 6 persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have died. As a result of this, the country's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 951. According to the ministry, the fatalities are that of 3 unvaccinated persons and 3 persons whose vaccination statuses were unknown. 48 new cases were recorded, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 36,305. 17 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU, 59 persons are in institutional isolation, 2,284 in home isolation, and 5 persons are in institutional quarantine. To date, 32,053 recoveries have been recorded.
Guyana's Yellowtail project is the best on the planet. Outstanding economics for Hess and Exxon means depressing sickness for Guyana. The oil people are now boasting about their Guyana oil killing. Meanwhile, Guyanese leaders are killing citizens with lies, sloth, incompetence, and side deals. As if that is not enough, citizens are acting out frustrations and killing the weak and vulnerable. Outsiders are laughing. Guyanese are crying and mourning. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Fellow Guyanese, after the newscast at 12 noon every day, I am dedicating some clips with extremely important information pertaining to Guyana's future. Please, I beg you, take some time and listen to them. It is for your interest and future generations. This is a message from Glenn Lal saying thanks for listening to the Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Fellow